Alright, good morning guys. We are going to move away from graphing and get into some algebra with these trig functions. Okay, so we have basic trigonometric identities. We did some of this earlier in the year, but we're going to have to review it a little bit. Alright, so what you need to write down on a separate sheet of paper, or if you still have the foldable from the beginning earlier in the year, you need to write these down somewhere when you do these problems. Okay, so all of our identities can be written down so you can reference them easily. I will find one and post it if you have printer access. If not, I would definitely write them all down. Okay, so we are going to find trig values with identities using the quotient and reciprocal identities. Okay, so quotient basically means that tangent is really sine over cosine and cotangent is cosine over sine. Alright, so that's your y over your x, and then that's your x over your y. And our reciprocal identities is what we've done. Alright, so the flip of sine is cosecant, the flip of cosecant is sine, flip of cosine is secant, secant is cosine, and tangent is cotangent, cotangent is tangent. Alright, so that's basically what they're saying. Alright, so if secant of theta is equal to the negative square root of 30 over 3, we need to find cosine of theta. Alright, so we know that cosine, according to our reciprocal identities, is really 1 over secant of theta. Alright, so we just need, and we know that secant is negative square root of 30 over 3. So I'm going to plug that in. So it's 1 over negative square root of 30 divided by 3. Now I can't divide fractions, so I'm going to have to flip it and multiply by the reciprocal. So 1 over 1 for the top times negative 3 over square root of 30. Now I'll multiply across, I get negative 3 over the square root of 30. Can't have a radical in the denominator, so we need to multiply. Or rationalize the denominator, it's called. So multiply by that. And clean it up. Then we get negative 3 square roots of 30. Then when you multiply that right there, the radicals will disappear, and then it'll just 30. Simplify the fractions. We have negative 3 over 30, which simplifies to negative 1, and 30 divided by 3 is 10. So we get negative square root of 30 over 10. Alright, so what that means, if I rewind back over here, cosine of theta is really negative square root of 30 over 10. Alright, so go back, rewind, watch it again. So I'm just using my rules. I wanted secant, and I know that cosine is the reciprocal of secant. Moving on to if tangent of x is equal to square root of 2 over 4, and cosine is negative 2 square root of 2 over 3, we need to find sine. Alright, so information given to us, I know tangent of x is sine of x over cosine of x, and that comes from above in that quotient property. All right, so I'm going to plug in what I know. I know tangent is square root of 2 over 4, so square root of 2 over 4 is equal to sine of x, which we don't know, so leave that alone. And then cosine is negative 2 root 2 over 3. Okay, so it looks kind of crazy, but we actually have two fractions equal to each other, so all we have to do is cross multiply. Alright, cross multiply here. It makes life a lot easier. Okay, so our next step, we're going to get square root of 2 over 1 times negative 2 root 2 over 3 is equal to 4 sine of x. Or you can flip-flop, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this top here, and a negative 2 root 2 times square root of 2, the square roots will cancel out. So I'm going to get, actually, I'll start working, yeah, that's fine, I'll work horizontal. So I get negative 2 times 2 over 3, which is equal to 4 sine of x. Okay. And then we get negative 4 over 3 is equal to 4 sine of x. Divide by 4. Okay, so when I divide by 4, I'm really divide by 4 is really timesing by 1/4 to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to get sine of x is equal to negative 4/3 times 1/4. So I get sine of x is equal to, these 4's cancel out, I get negative 1/3. So sine of x is negative 1/3. It's a lot of playing with fraction, flipping fractions, okay? So again, when you divide, remember it's basically flipping and multiplying the fraction. And then in C, we are given cosecant of beta is equal to 7/3, and cotangent of beta is negative 2 root 10 over 3. Alright, I know a couple different things here. I know that cosecant of beta is 7/3, and the reciprocal of that, okay, it means sine of beta is equal to 1 over cosecant of beta. Alright, which means you basically flip cosecant. So sine of beta is really 3/7. Alright, so I'm going to circle this in a different color because we're going to come back to that because we need that. And then we know that cotangent of beta is x over y, so it's cosine of beta over sine of beta. Okay, so we know cotangent is negative 2 root 10 over 3. We don't know cosine of beta, so cosine will lead us to secant, since that's what we want, because I know that secant is really 1 over cosine of beta. Okay, I know that. I'll erase that because it gets into the other problem. Alright, so, and then I know sine of beta is 3/7. Cross multiply. Okay, I'm going to get, can't read my own work, so 3 cosine of beta is equal to negative 2/10, negative 2 root 10 times 3/7. I'm going to move my work up to here. So I know that 3 cosine of beta is equal to negative 6 root 10 over 7. I have to divide by 3. Again, remember it's multiplying by the reciprocal of 3. So cosine of beta is really negative 6 root 10. This is the other problem. Over 7 times 1/3. The 6 and the 3 there will simplify. 3 becomes 1. 6 divided by 3 becomes 2. So cosine of beta is equal to negative 2 root 10 over 7. And since secant is the reciprocal of cosine, so secant of beta is 7 over negative 2 root 10. Again, can't have a radical in the denominator, so we have to rationalize. Multiply the square root of 10, get rid of that radical. And we get 7 square root of 10 over negative 2 times 10, which gives me 7 square roots of 10 over negative 20. Final answer. Alright, so I'm going to break this section up into 3 parts. So this will be part 1, and then a couple days we'll do part 2, and a couple days we'll do part 3. Alright, email me if you have questions. Have a great